doing? We'll give it just a little bit of time for everybody to join in. Then we'll get into the meat of it. I know, it's a day late, dollar short, but at least I'm streaming. At least I'm doing something. That's better than the last month and a half. How are you doing, Togglebit? It has been a while. I haven't been around. I know. One of your greatest supporters. Probably not. I haven't watched one of your streams for like solidly a month. I have been absolutely swamped. I was gonna get into that just before we got into the news. What's been going on in my life? I should pull up. I'll see if this is safe for stream. Yeah, this is good. Not quite. Toggle bit. So I did have a procedure. But that wasn't not all for sure. I had one procedure. I'm gonna have to have a follow-up, sadly. Sadly, I'm gonna have to have a follow-up. We're gonna talk about that. It's a stored procedure. It is a stored procedure, unfortunately. We're gonna have to remove the stored procedure in the future. Dang it. It's a stored procedure. That's what it is. Absolutely. Absolutely fantastic. How have you been doing, Toggle? I am serious. I haven't actually gotten to see one of your streams recently. I'm sorry about that. What? I haven't blocked anything. Did I not see you, Russell? I didn't see anything, Russell. Let me be clear. I didn't do anything, but I haven't seen anything. Is this on Twitch? Oh, okay. So in the activity feed, I do see it. It's funny you mentioned 10 arms, Togglebit, because that is the procedure that has to be done. It's called 10x. So what they do is they stick this thing up in your arm, and it uses ultrasonic vibrations to vibrate your tendon, and then they scrape away at your tendon. So apparently what's gone wrong is that my tendon did not grow back after damage correctly, and so there's bad portions of this tendon, and they have to go like cut away at the tendon. And interestingly enough, the tendon that's grown back poorly vibrates at a different it vibrates differently. So you can see it. Now, the bad part about this is I will not be able to use my arms for about 2 weeks after this happens. I'll go on light duty, which I've been told a mouse and keyboard is fine for light duty. But I'm gonna have to be really, really, really careful around that time. So anyways, that's just some of what's up. Are tendons meant to vibrate? Is that even a thing? I guess they vibrate. I don't think they're meant to vibrate. I think that's what they do to my, what they're going to do to mine. You know what's worse about that? Okay, so the procedure that I had was less than this, and it's one of the more painful things that I have had done to me. So the procedure that I had was, instead of going and cutting out the bad tendon, they just went in and poked my tendon with a bunch of holes. So they poked it full of a bunch of holes and then injected PRP, which is basically your platelets from your blood in and around it to like encourage proper growth. This obviously is not working quite as well as I had hoped. I think it has very low chances of success. I think that they mainly do it because of insurance wants to try it because it could work and is less. It's also good because like it only puts you down for like 2 days of no work versus like they say 1 to 2 weeks. It depends on how much they cut out and how your body reacts to it. So they have to kind of get in there before they know whether it's 1 or 2 weeks. So yeah, they're gonna go in and this is the tendon here that they're gonna cut out. So yeah, I have that coming up. That's not even my whole December story because let me stop there. Thank you so much, Russell, for the 18 months sub. Thank you so much. I super appreciate it. Dude, this wasn't it, because so December 10th, I think it was 10th or 12th. I fell ill with I've never had COVID before. Just gonna throw that out. Never had. I got COVID for the first time. I got COVID. All the doctors blamed everything that was on COVID, but it turns out that about halfway through COVID, I developed strep throat, and then that wasn't treated, and it developed into scarlet fever. If you guys realize that can happen, it can. So while I was dealing with COVID, I was dealing with that, and it kind of got progressed for a little while. So like when you got the I'm sick in Discord, this is what I was dealing with at that point. And I was out of it for pretty much all of December. And I then had like a bunch of physical therapy for my arms to try to do physical therapy before doing any type of procedure. So I was doing that through January. And then at the beginning of February, had the thing done on my arm. So this is why I didn't stream in January. It was kind of a rough. I was supposed to have time off in December, and I basically spent the time off being some of the most sick I have ever been in my life. Lando, it's good to see you. I haven't seen you for a little while. Mostly probably my fault for not streaming for a little while, but it's fantastic to see you. Also, Goot, good to see you. Never knew guitars. Oh, yeah. Well, I wish they couldn't. It's spreading. The risk out there is spreading. This is not medical advice or anything related to actual medical. The things that can catch COVID are obviously spreading. So Lando, I'm sorry to hear it. I'm sorry to hear it. I have also had a little bit of the, you know, I have to say, like, I will blame quite a bit on the fact that I was physically ill, both like my arms and but it took a toll on me mentally. Last year, as many of you know, had been a very long year, and I was kind of looking forward to that December being like my catch up, and because I didn't get that effectively, it was very difficult on me, both physically and mentally, but back, and I'm kind of excited about it. I've had some time to think, and I'm actually kind of excited. So yeah, but let's cover the news. Let's talk about the news while we're here. What's happened? I'm not going to cover everything about what happened since I've been gone, because it was a lot. It was a lot, and I'm sorry that I wasn't here. But I'm looking forward to covering the news each week. I'm going to try to do more events with coding live stream. So I've been thinking about we'll talk about this after the news. We'll talk about this after the news, about exactly how I live stream and what I live stream and what I get people excited for. And I think I have some changes, and we'll see how those go. C++ finally found a way. Is that what I missed in December? Wait, what are you talking about? I actually have one C++ thing, but it's not C++ finally found. Post a link. 3 out of 3 Rush streamers were sick. Oh no. The conspiracy. I haven't been paid by OpenAI yet. Okay, I know. Funny story. Before all of this, I had posted somewhere in Discord about what Sam Altman would have to pay me to not get me to do the AI games, and then I didn't do the AI games, and I was like, man, if people were paying attention, possibly a good conspiracy theory here. As I kept delaying the AI games, and I was like, oh yeah, 500,000 for a delay of the AI games. All right. Anyways, I have not been paid not to do the AI games. They're still on the docket. Unfortunately, they're going to be the 2026 AI games. We're going to do them this spring, possibly this summer. I have been thinking about when exactly to do the AI games, and there's some things that I'd like to get added into them, but I don't want to wait too long. So at the very latest, we're going to do them over the 4th of July, because I have some time then, and we're not doing anything as a family, really. So possibly then, but if not then, we'll try to do them a little bit earlier. So still up in the air. We're going to see, but yeah. I don't have to lie to you. Right. Trust me. I wouldn't be lying. That would be a part of the deal, is that I get to tell people that I was paid not to do them. All right. I need like a canary, right? I need a canary. I have not yet been paid. In case I get paid, and part of the deal is that I can't say anything, I just have to remove the canary. That's on my goals for this week, is to make sure I have a blog with a canary. All right, let's Sam behind the camera. Yeah. Sam's in the house with me. That would be awkward. I actually like the chance to talk. I don't think, one, it would never happen, and two, and not because it's Sam, but because these people don't like to talk at the level that I'd like to talk. Like, it's kind of not their job anymore, and I've realized that, like, the higher you move up at a company, the less you can talk about. And so, like, we'll talk about Sam's town hall, which I actually think that there was actually a call out by the Primogen about something that nobody's talking about, but probably should be talking about, or maybe we all realize it and that's why we're not talking about it, and so we'll just move on with life. But I think as the CEO or whatever of a company, probably shouldn't have said that. Because you have a lot weighing on you, and really it even comes into internal politics. Like if a CEO says something, it can be taken wrongly by sales. Or, if they say something awesome about developers, like we're really looking for developers to drive these features for sales. Now the sales team feels like, that was a slight against them. Or they say something about the sales team and the engineering team thinks it's a slight against them. And so like, as you move up, you actually get a much more narrow ability to talk, even at the company level, let alone publicly, which is very interesting. So, and I say all of that to say, like, Sam wouldn't have anything interesting to say to me, or shouldn't really, because the things I want to talk about probably would fall outside of the things he can talk about. I don't know. A CEO should stick to Coldplay concerts. Possibly. That's probably the right way to go. Just and don't be silly. It's not a hat. It's a mask. We all know. We've watched Scooby-Doo. It's a mask. All right. So anyways, I just don't think that Sam would ever talk to me. And it's probably the right thing to do. Not talking to me as any CEO. I've only talked to one CEO at this point, which was actually pretty fantastic. Dan Lornick. Actually, that was a pretty fantastic talk. But we didn't really talk about his company. We probably should at some point. Is Sam my crush? Absolutely. Sure. Who isn't crushing hard on Sam? He has great hair, right? I mean, let's be honest. Let's find a picture of him, because I can't remember what his hair looks like. Let me find a picture. Okay, I think it's great hair, because I have the same problem as Sam. Is if I cut my hair that short, there's no way I control it. Now, maybe he actually purposely does it that way, but like, my hair kind of naturally looks that way. You guys have seen this. So I give respect to that. I call it the binary star system, because I have these two calyx back here. If my hair is not the length that it is, the binary stars back here, I have two massive, it's probably not really binary stars, but more like black holes. Like, they are just two massive calyx that there's no product on this good earth that will hold those things down if I don't have long hair. Yeah. I don't think he was in that show, although I haven't watched the show, so who knows? It's okay to have a little crush on him. All right, let's get into the news. Okay, so you don't want to put super glue in your hair, but I can tell you that Elmer's glue. So if you're really wanting to, Elmer's glue works pretty well in your hair, and it's water soluble. So super glue is not so water soluble, so that's why you don't want to use super glue. But Elmer's glue actually does a really good job. So if you're trying to get a really tall mohawk, I might have done this in when I was actually good at swimming. If you're trying to get a really tall mohawk, what you do is you put Elmer's glue, which is water soluble, which means you can get it out, in your hair. You wait a little while for it to start to solidify, and then you form it. And it does a really good job. So if you're really trying, Elmer's glue is your way out. Right. Elmer's glue is non-committal. Super glue is very committal. Um, oh boy. All right. It's so out of context. All almost everything we've said at this point out of context is pretty rough. Well, I'm happy to be back, and this has been so much fun. I'm almost hating to get into the news because I'm sure it will be way less fun than the last 5 minutes of this conversation. But it's good to be back. I will have. I'm thinking when my elbows get done, I'm gonna have my one elbow done at a time. I think I'm gonna be able to still do the news because I think that it probably will be less well, but I just won't be able to use one arm, and I can use the mouse with either arm, and we'll see. We'll have to play that by ear, but probably more than likely I'll have to miss one. If I have the procedure done on a Monday, I'll have to miss that Friday or that Saturday's news. That's my hope, is just 1 week, one Saturday for each one. So I haven't scheduled those. I'll post those in Discord when I do schedule, and those will be times I will be off. And we'll see how it goes. Actually, though, I'm kind of hopeful. My left arm feels better. So like maybe it's healing and I only have to get it done on my right arm. Like that could be fantastic. One arm bandit. Dude, I was a no arm bandit. You know what? I gained a lot of respect for people who don't have either arm. Just a ton of respect, because I lived 2 days with neither arm, and that was rough. There are so many things you have to learn how to do. It is rough, and gained a lot of respect for it. So there we go. I had arms. I wasn't armless. I just literally couldn't. Doing this hurt because it uses like your tendon that connects back. Like, okay, so again, not a medical professional, but like all of your muscles in your arm are for your hands, right? Because like that's where your grip strength goes. So like there's very little. Your thumb has like some of the most, but it even uses a tendon down here in your arm. So like a lot of everything you do revolves around your elbow. And if your elbow hurts, like the most you can do is kind of shrug. Like that's the arm movement I had. Yeah, you have no muscles in your fingers. Yeah. You could have used your feet. So this is the problem. I'm not that flexible. There's no way. If you see me get my feet up where my arms are supposed to be, there's a whole nother hospital stay that's going to be needed after that. That's just not going to be natural for me. I was not born a flexible person. I also haven't kept up with it, which shame on me. I actually need to work on my flexibility. I think that's probably one of my flexibility and my cardio are like the two things I should be working more on. I take the dogs for a walk, and it's like it might be like a half mile loop, but the other problem with it is like today I won't take them. We'll go on an abbreviated route because it's muddy, and that one path gets very muddy, and I basically have to give them a bath if I was going to go. So I need to come up with a different plan because I need better cardio. See ya, Toggle. All right, let's jump into the news, and then we can chat a little bit more after. I'll talk about a little bit of what I see coming up in the future, like the AI games. I have a few other ideas like that for some events that we're going to do. I'm gonna start getting. I'm actually getting ready to start posting on YouTube again. And yeah, we'll see. We'll see how this all goes. So I know that a while ago we've all talked about what AI is going to do to junior employees. A lot of us say that like AI can really accelerate, especially in my opinion so far. I see a lot of more senior engineers being accelerated by AI because they understand what they want to do really well, which means when they're context engineering, they're engineering context really well for the AI, as well as they understand the limitations, what it does really well, and they're really looking forward to exploring and understanding how well it can do for them, or how well it can do things for them. Now, that being said, I find that then when you get more junior in the scales, it becomes much more AI slop than it is a finely crafted piece of software. Now, this is not to point any fingers or say that all juniors are that way. They just have more of a tendency because they don't know as many pitfalls as the more senior people do. They don't have all of the context that they do and those types of things that they've just had from experience. Now, that being said, I've always looked at what is going to be the next role of the junior. I actually think that this is really important in the industry because as you have junior engineers come up, we have to be bringing that next generation in. And it's really important to be able to get them to where the seniors are of today, especially because we see that increase in productivity. So, what is the solution? I don't honestly know right now, but I did see that IPM is taking a stab at it. And so it's something that I'm going to watch going forward, and we're going to see how this does. But IBM is tripling the number of Gen Z entry level jobs. I don't care that it's Gen Z, but entry level jobs after finding the limits of AI adoption. Now, it goes on to say the job market is the sore subject for Gen Z, the unemployment rate, blah, blah, blah. So many ads on this website. It's ramping up the hiring. And one of the things that it said that it was looking to do is as it has shifted some roles from AI fluency, they're changing slightly what their expectation is from the Gen Z or I'm going to say entry level software engineer, because in my opinion, if you want to make you want to make that change in your 30s, come on in and make that change. But what it's doing for its entry level software engineers, it's going to spend less time on routine coding. But do you know what? I mean, like, this sounds all good, but let's be honest. How much of your time is actually spent on coding? I guess as a junior, that's probably was a lot of the junior's job. And as you got more senior, you were in more meetings, you were doing more architectural design, you're doing more herding of cats. But it's looking to ramp that up, and it's looking to have these younger engineers actually do more interactions. Now, whether it's with customers or other engineering teams, I think that's really cool. I think that's a really awesome idea. Is really upskilling them in their abilities. So it's odd to think about, but sometimes engineers have hard time with interpersonal communication and relationships. And I think that it's fantastic that we might focus more on that. Now, my only worry here with this plan here, with this long-term plan for the company, is the reason, in my opinion, that software engineers, or specifically the reason that I just decided to reorganize the window so the chat was closer so I could see it. But anyways, the reason that this is so important in my mind that you don't lose training, or the biggest problem that could be here. My goodness, words are difficult. I forgot how hard it is to talk in front of a camera. Anyways, the reason that this could have some problems, or the problems that I could see as part of this, is just the fact that when the senior engineers go to engineer some context for the AI to go do that and push the limits and bounds of what's possible. They do that from a long time of experience doing the same things themselves. And I don't know the exact trade-off. How much time will they spend coding and and debugging? I think debugging is one of the best things that they could do for themselves. And I think it's very important for them not to lose that. I honestly don't see a world where that ability to critically think and debug and dissect a system is going to go away, not in the near term. And that's going to be the really, really important part. And so I want to look for how they manage that as they go through this, because I think this is really important. Like I said, I'm not saying this with all the answers. I'm saying it as this is actually a critical thing for the industry as a whole. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that. And that's the one downfall I see as you move them on to interacting with customers and stuff like that, and hopefully other engineering teams and doing some of that, is how do you really, really push that technical understanding that they're going to need to be really, really effective. Russell, I kind of agree. Writing code 5%, reading code 30%, stopping others merging code 30%, and meetings the rest. You know, I wasn't prepared for this, but let me check. Yeah, okay, we're good. I have kind of said something similar to this. Is like, people will say that AI as a software engineer, engineer, has made them 100 times more productive or 10 times more productive. And when I look at what I do on a daily basis as a software engineer, let's say this is my whole day here. We have this part here is reviewing code. And then this is like design work, or I say design work, but it's like understanding requirements. You know, you're meeting with your PMs, you're going over some of the requirements that they're doing, and you're trying to digest them and break them into like meaningful things. You know, there's a couple different processes I could name that could be the process that you're using for here. But, you know, a PM is going to give you a list of requirements, and you're going to go back and forth on which ones are important and that type of stuff. So understanding and managing requirements. You have writing code. And you have like miscellaneous other stuff that you're doing here. We could break this out. Other stuff. And so when you say that AI makes you 10 times faster, well, this is what, 20% of your time? If it made this zero, that doesn't make you 10 times faster, right? It makes you 20%. If this was zero, but it doesn't make it zero either. The other thing that we don't or don't talk about is whose responsibility is this? This is one of the things that I keep pushing, is when we talk about this AI generated code here, whose responsibility is this? If I break production, do I get to say, oh, well, that was OpenAI's fault, not mine? And the fact of the matter is, no, I don't. My boss doesn't literally give a crap, the thing that generated it. My job is to have this responsibility. And so The thing is, even if the AI writes this 100%, I'm still going to spend a portion of that time reviewing the code because it's my responsibility. So it can't take it to 0, even if it writes 100% of it. Now, it could maybe help you understand requirements. So it could shave off a little bit of time. It could shave off this time right here. A lot of this other stuff it cannot do. It could review easy PRs, maybe. Maybe you could shave off a little bit of time there. And a lot of this other stuff, which is meetings and stuff like that you need to go to, it can't touch. So at this point, this is one of the big things, and this responsibility affects all of these. All of these are your responsibility. And so you cannot say, oh, well, the AI did a bad job. That just will not fly. And so, yeah. That's good. I work very hard to make sure that my engineers get to refuse a lot of meetings. I try to have it about 20%. That's what I kind of shoot towards. There's a lot of good in the collaboration, so I don't want to restrict it too much. And then there's, as I see it, like as you move up, like when you're a junior, you collaborate a lot with just your team. When you're a senior, you start collaborating more outside, and that means a little bit more meetings. And then when you're like a staff or a principal, your job is to collaborate with other teams and ensure those things are aligned. And so you have more meetings. It depends on where you're in that scale on how many meetings you have, because it kind of is part of your job. So anyways, this is something I'm really looking forward to because, like I said, I actually think having engineers start by learning to collaborate with other teams might be a cool thing. They just need that technical knowledge as well. And I don't want it to be lost, because then I think we're not training up that next generation very well. So anyways, this is something I am a little bit passionate about. I found this very interesting. I'm just going to post it. We don't have to go into it a whole lot. So this is just like the cost by provider in cloud spend. Now, this is not the interesting thing here. The interesting thing here is it's not super accurate. So it will say that AI ML hit 2.67% of cloud spend. But this does not account for data storage for AI and the compute for AI. It's just the GPU spend, as far as I understand at this point. The other thing that's interesting is they take the big providers like OpenAI and Anthropic as a infrastructure provider. And so their cost isn't actually attributed to this. So like when we say 2.67%, or we'll just say 2.5%, we're talking about consumers and not providers of AI here. So we're talking about people like you and me, not like OpenAI, because I think if you counted OpenAI's cloud spend, this would go up. Also, again, because the storage isn't counted and the compute for storage isn't counted in this, I think that's massive. Those data sets are absolutely huge. I think you probably actually double this number just alone for counting for data set storage. But I mean, that's speculation on my part. So who knows? And the reason it gets difficult, and they call this out, the reason it gets difficult is some of those data sets that they would have had were data sets they already had and stored for whatever reason. And yeah, sure, they trained their AI on it. But how do you attribute that new CPU usage to the AI usage versus what they normally would have. I mean, without really in-depth knowledge of the company, which they don't have, because no company would release that type of granular specs of this is how much we paid before AI, and after using AI, we started, we had this many more CPU cores in our database. That's not the type of information they can get their hands on. So, anyways, it was interesting to know. So I thought I would share it. Really quickly, Gemini 3 DeepThink is being released out there. So if you're paying for Gemini in the Gemini Ultra or Pro, you can leverage the DeepThink. I haven't gotten to use it. I don't pay for Gemini Pro. According, I believe that's a new word. According to their own states, Gemini 3 DeepThink does fairly well versus Gemini 3. I say take all of these with a grain of salt because all of them always do better and then they never feel that much better. I know that's a not very popular opinion, but a coding is according to the code. I like it, Goot. I believe that is a new word that we're going to have to start. I bet even AWS and Azure don't know exactly what they're spending on AI. Russell, I would agree too. I would think, I find this number interesting. I say take it for a grain of salt because you're right. The attributing cost is difficult. You know how many companies there are that try to help you attribute cost? Like we struggle attributing cost to just a team, let alone then to say, well, this team's breakout was this much in AI versus in just regular databases. Like that would be so difficult. It's not even funny. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I think yeah, a lot of people struggle with that. I mean, it's a hard problem. It's a hard problem. All right. Moving on. Gemini 3 DeepThink is coming out, but as they always do in the punching matches, OpenAI released their 5.3 Codex Spark. Now, I wish that this had been one of their open weight models because they have done some open weight ones, and this is supposed to be an ultra low latency that you can use for coding. So basically you're typing in your editor and whatnot. Wait, can I get this one? Can you get Codex Spark? I hope that you can. I didn't think it was an open weight. They didn't say open weight, but they said, one second, Codex Spark on as a research preview. I think it's only a data center one though, because I don't have Cerberus. Like you have to be an actual researcher. Okay, well, anyways, I would love if it was able to be run locally because supposedly it's blazing fast. It's written in Rust. This one right here. This model's weights are stored in Rust. That's how fast it is. I mean, that's what people have been missing this entire time is just putting their weights in Rust. That being said, it's supposed to be really, really fast with decent accuracy. Still, again, under 60%. So, it's not that great, especially when you're talking about agent workflows. Something I have talked about in the past is the compounding errors in agent workflows and being careful about those compounding errors. So this is something you have to be cognizant of. And when you're talking about this, it's probably not great to use in an agent. But if you're talking about inline editing where you need that fast, speedy response, I think this is something that could be really, really cool. So, anyways. It's just a Rust file with a string variable that's in Python, and it's still blazing fast, okay? Don't hate on the Python embedded Rust. Don't hate on it. Just Rust ships an interpreter for Python right there in it. It's beautiful. It's the new way to do AI. You write your Rust and you just embed Python in it, and there's a blazing fast Python interpreter embedded in the Rust, and it's faster because Rust can just do the multi-threading for the Python. Although, to be fair, after 30 some years, Python is getting true multi-threading in the future. All right. I want to know how people feel about this. I actually think I know that some of you guys use Windows, which just blows my mind, which just absolutely destroys me. But for those of you that use .NET, have you used this, and has it made high quality unit tests? Now, I have kind of taken the opposite approach where when I'm doing this, I make high quality tests and then I have it iterate on making the code pass those tests and having it not touch the tests at all. I make the caveat if they want to make a new test, I'm fine with the AI making a new test. I am not okay with them changing a current test because sometimes that's how they get the test to pass is by making a change to the test, which sometimes is very much the wrong answer. I don't think that this is a revolutionary thing here. We've had AIs that can do this. I think the biggest thing is they made better IDE. Like I said, I don't know the IDE very well, so I'm guessing they did some stuff for the IDE. But how are people doing this? Are people having the AIs write the tests, or are they writing the tests and then having the AI's code against it? I'd be interested in understanding that better. All right. This got stuck. I wanted to... It won't play now. Let's refresh this, see if we can't... Here we go. Here we go. I believe it was right here. It was right here, right? Yeah, I think it's right here. We're going to listen to this right here. Another very popular streamer pointed out, and I thought it was worth listening to.
More different kinds of equipment world.
Hi, Sam. My name is Emmy. I'm a Stanford student, and I run a biosecurity startup. So to your conversation about scientific experiments and really just like, for example, like cloud labs and where all this is going, my team spends a lot of time thinking about how we can prevent the harms of AI-enabled biological redesign, but also how can we use AI to uplift security.
Really, really innocent question. And even her phrasing goes in pretty good with like how we can use AI to uplift, like how we can use it to strengthen. Like that to me, I thought that was, you know, if I had been in her spot, I would have been more of the pessimistic side where I was saying like, hey, we've seen attacks launched leveraging Anthropic's platform and things like that. And where do you see AI fitting in the world of the universe of hackers? But very well worded, very good question. And let's listen to Sam Altman's response.
Infrastructure. So I guess my question is, where does security fall in this 126 roadmap? And broadly, how do you think about some of these issues?
Security broadly or biosecurity specifically?
Either, preferably biosecurity.
There are many ways AI can go wrong. in 2026. Certainly one of them that we are quite nervous about is bio. The models are quite good at bio, and right now most of our, and by like our, not just OpenAI's, the world strategy is to try to restrict who gets access to them and, you know, put a bunch of classifiers to not help people make novel pathogens. I don't think that's going to work for much longer. And the shift that I think the world needs to make for AI security generally and AI biosecurity in particular is to move from one of like blocking to one of resilience.
Okay, first, restrict who gets access. That's a terrible plan. That's a terrible plan because that's just a bad plan, right? There's open models and things like that, and you could say that yours is the best, but what does the best matter? If that is your plan, it's not a great plan, right? It's just not a great plan. We'll leave it at that. That's a terrible plan to lead with. But it gets worse. It gets worse.
My co-founder of Wojciech uses the analogy I really like about fire safety. Fire did all these wonderful things for society. Then it started burning down cities. We tried to do all of these things to restrict fire. I just actually learned this weekend that curfew comes from like when you weren't allowed to have fires anymore because they were burning down cities. And then we got better at like resilience to fire, and we came up with fire code. And
I do believe he hasn't lived in California long enough.
Flame resistant materials and a bunch of other things. And now we're pretty good at that.
It was a terrible example because just to pick it apart a little bit, have you seen how fast modern houses burn down? Way faster than old houses. Way faster, because everything in a modern house is like the synthetic materials. It's like 2 minutes. 2 minutes for your entire house. Not long. Much worse.
As a society.
It's okay. It's okay.
I think we need to think about AI the same way. AI is going to be a real problem for bioterrorism. AI is going to be a real problem for cybersecurity. AI is also a solution to those things. It's a solution to a lot of other problems as well. And I think we need like a society-wide effort not to sort of provide the infrastructure for this resilience, not labs that we trust to sort of always block what they're supposed to block. And, you know, there will be many good models in the world. We've been talking to a lot of bio researchers, companies, about what it takes to be able to deal with novel pathogens. I think there are a lot of people interested in the problem and a lot of people reporting that AI actually seems helpful at this, but it won't be an entirely technological solution. You will need the world to think about these things differently than we have been. So I am very nervous about where things are, but I don't see a path other than the sort of resilience-based approach, and it does seem like AI can really help us do that fast. But if something goes wrong,
here is where it gets spicy. This is where people aren't talking about, and they should.
Really wrong, like visibly really wrong for AI this year, I think bio would be a reasonable bet for what that could be. And then as we get into next year and the following year, you can imagine lots of other things going really wrong too.
You can imagine a lot of other things going really wrong too. I don't know. That now, part of this is because they've put themselves in a spot where it has to be AI has to be this ultra superior to human intellect thing, right? Because that's where they position their company, right? So on one hand, they kind of have to be talking like it's going to be that. Because if they don't, they're kind of backtracking on what they're selling, right? What their valuation is, right? Dogs and cats living together. Don't tell my dogs and cats that. They hate the fact that they live together. That's like a sticking point with them. The dogs don't mind the cats, but the cats detest. Anyways, I found that to kind of be startling that nobody's actually talking about this. I didn't see any news articles. The only other person I saw online that actually talked about this was the Primogen. And like the fact that people watch this and let's see how many people have viewed it. 122,000 views. And nobody called out that like he imagines a lot of things going very wrong. All right. Where's Ultra AI? I believe he had a personal engagement today. Not that I know what he's doing every single day, but I do know today. He lives across the world from me, but I do know today he had something going on, which was unfortunate. My first day back. Let's move on to some other more exciting conversations, topics that were going on. Let's go into the open source. Yeah. 120,000 of those probably have investments in AI. Yeah, dude, it's so difficult because like from my standpoint, I look at that and I'm like, we need to talk about that. But also, Sam Altman probably shouldn't have said that. Like, just he should have found a different way of saying that, which I would hate to be a CEO because I would hate to have to walk that line, right? It's a very narrow line where it's like, I have to be consistent in my wording and my messaging that I say to investors as I go to get billions of dollars. But on top of that, I need to not say hyperbolic statements. Now, my biggest problem with Sam Altman is I believe he says that a lot to drum up attention and drum up funding. You know, trying to stop open models from training material on pathogen material like is great and all, but it's never stopped anything in the past. And maybe it's a great speed bump for the time being, and that's fine. But as Russell said, people circumvent restrictions all the time. Like that has never been. It's why, like, for me, security and security related things should be open source. And the reason is security shouldn't be based on obscurity. And when you say our security is based on obscurity, that's what that feels like to me. And that only lasts for a little bit of time. Now, I think it's completely fine to say obscurity is part of our security stance. Like, that's fine. I don't have a problem with that. But it can't be your full stance. Like your full stance needs to have some security built in. You know, I would have preferred that he said that OpenAI doesn't train on any pathogen data set. I didn't say that. He probably doesn't know. One of the problems, they don't honestly know 100% of what they train on. So that's a problem. And I would love to see them do a little bit more on that. All right, let's get into open source. We have some open source stuff to talk about that I'm excited about and is much more fun and exciting to talk about than what we just talked about. The first thing. The resurgence of C++ is here. The resurgence of lightweight, lightning fast, in process data storage written in C++ is here. ZVec. Mostly C++ with, I don't know how you slide in 7.6%. Now, I have to say this. I have found that this here is wrong. GitHub gets this wrong sometimes. And like, I'm betting this C is actually C++. So like, it's actually like 83% C++. I definitely see that happening where it's not 100% correct, but that's okay. It has some Python. We can see it's a Py project. Have no idea Have no idea. But ZVec, if you didn't know ZVec exists, is an open source in-process vector database. It's a database. It's also a database. It's lightweight, lightning fast, not blazing fast. Blazing fast, that's Rust. Lightning fast, C++. Gotta know which one's which, okay? It's getting a little bit difficult to know, but you get lightning fast databases in C++, blazing fast databases in Rust. And designed to be embedded directly into applications. Built on Proxima, Alibaba's battle-tested vector search engine. It delivers production-grade, low-latency, scalable similarity search with minimal setup. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh no, they used blazing fast here. The Rust community should go cancel this project. I believe lightning fast is the correct term. Maybe I should make a PR to make it not step on Rust toes. Yeah, I apologize. I didn't do a good enough job of vetting this project. Obviously, written by AI here. But anyways, it looks like it does really, really well on similarity search. I haven't gotten to use it myself directly, but it looks pretty cool. So anyways, I just thought I'd send it out there. If you guys are looking for a lightning fast database, I've got one for you. There's actually some other ones. There's actually some other, like Facebook's similarity search engine is also really fast. I haven't done a comparison between the two. And interestingly enough, this one doesn't compare itself to, I'm trying to think of, what is it called? What is Facebook's vector search called? What is it called? Why can't I think of it? Face. So this is also a C++ plus Python mix of vector search goodness that uses the most expensive thing possible, which is RAM. So it didn't do a direct comparison against that, which I think was probably because they don't beat it right now, but it's very new. It's very new. So it's on version 0.2. But anyways, I'd love to see a comparison between those two. And I haven't done that myself. So, you know, it's still out. Make an issue asking which it is. Yeah, we'll have to. Whether it's blazing fast or lightning fast. So anyways, there you go. Another vector search if you're wanting to do similarity search. Pretty interesting. I found this blog. And I know some of us are Go engineers. If you're not, that's fine. But inspecting the source of Go modules. Now, as any of you that done much Go will know that the Go checksum database guarantees that every Go client in the world is using the same source for a given Go module and version forever. The Go checksum database is probably one of the biggest behind the scenes Go initiative for Go mod that has ever been taken for a language. It's actually really neat because a lot of the problems of the Go package manager, or really the lack thereof a Go package manager, were solved by the Go checksum database. Like, it's actually quite a feat of engineering, and you know, Google maintains this silently all behind the scenes. Now you can choose not to use it. You can get around it if you don't want to use it, but by default, your Go mod is going to leverage this Go checksum database, and this provides a lot of good features. For one, like this proxy, the Go proxy that hits this also looks for a disallow list that basically, if you've marked a version as bad, like has a terrible CVE or something like that in it, it basically keeps you from downloading and a bunch of things like that. So there are a lot of really good things that this Go checksum database does. And I'm going to link this this to you all because this is actually really cool. There are caveats where this doesn't quite work. Now, the other thing that this article does is it does a fantastic job of describing what the Go checksum database does, how it works. It has a massive transparency log. The Go checksum database and the Go proxy there actually do you guys know like Salsa or any of those frameworks where you actually prove that the build wasn't tampered with? Well, or Raycore or any of those things on the open source side. Record, not Raycore. It's spelled funny, and I sounded out how it like. Anyways, record. And anyways, what record is all a part of is this transparency log, and this is built into the Go checksum database, which basically guarantees that Google can't actually, even Google, the one that hosts it, can't mess with that log without people knowing. It's basically blockchain. Okay, it's blockchain that's not decentralized. Okay, that's what it is. Easy peasy. Anyways, going on. This problem right here was taken advantage of. However, anytime we read code directly from the code host, we introduce a weak link in this chain. For example, there's no guarantee that the code displayed at this is the actual contents of the Go module, right? GitHub allows force pushing Git tags and even built its recommended GitHub Actions workflow on top of mutable tags. Last year, this was taken advantage of to make classic typo squatting attack harder to identify. A fake BoltDB module was published with malicious code, and then innocent code was force pushed to GitHub. Some commenters describe this as exploiting the Go module's mirror cache, but it's better understood as exploiting the natural lack of verification in the GitHub web interface. Now, I'm not... There's two ways to look at this. This person obviously is a huge Go fan, and so they like to look at it in that it's a GitHub problem. People who are a fan of GitHub, which are few and far between now, would look at it as a Go mirrors cache issue because, not our problem. The truth is probably that both could solve it better. That's probably the actual truth. Yeah, honestly, that's really probably the actual truth here, because the GitHub web interface verification here is more of a Git thing. It's weak either way. Both probably need to work on it. Anyways, which doesn't show the authentic and, in this case, malicious source of a module version. As used by actual Go tooling, this is similar to how sometimes malicious packaging are published to NPM and then linked to GitHub repositories with innocent code. So, yeah, anyways, that's what happened. And if you find yourself in this position, the solution when reviewing modules locally is to use a command like this, which is kind of a long, drawn-out thing. And the solution to all of this, which I'm going to let you read more of this at your own leisure, is using this right here, which basically allows you to git diff what's in the Google cache and what is in the actual repo to make sure that they're the same, which is super, super cool. And it has a Firefox add-on, which is even better because that's what we use here. That's the only thing we use. So anyways, super cool. If you're in Go, check it out. All right. If you're a fan of Zig, this next part is for you. Oops, I need to scroll back to the top. Devlog. What's new coming to Zig? Zig every single week. Not really every single week. every once in a while, Zig comes out with a new exciting feature as we get to see it mature and its community mature. Zig is actually one of those things which I wish I knew how to program a little bit better, because I really actually want to start leveraging this on more of the embedded devices, which I still need to figure out myself how to leverage Zig for those embedded devices. But that's another story for another day. The interesting and probably biggest thing that I saw out of this February 13th article here is basically green threads that is coming out. So the I'm calling them green threads because that's what a lot of people like to call them. Now, to be fair, it's out in experimental, which means it's not fully done. But you can think of these as stackful coroutines, green threads, fibers, however you want to think of this in the Rust way, as instead of threads, you're talking about Tokyo. Tokyo is a way to do green threads. That's not a perfect analogy, I understand, because Tokyo also doesn't have to do green threads, but it's an analogy. So green threads. That's what I generally call them. I like stackful coroutines though. I think stackful coroutines is more descriptive. So maybe I'm going to switch over to calling them stackful coroutines. Doesn't roll off the tongue as well, but yeah. Anyways, so that being said, stackful coroutines are here. So you can see here is like the threaded version of this here. And this is the stackful coroutine version of this. That's awesome. The other thing is package management. Package management is always a pain. And I'm glad that that's getting better. But this was the big thing for me. Go check it out if you want. Here's the link. If you're interested in Zig, I'm tentatively excited about it. Now, do keep in mind with this, there are several things, a couple functions still unimplemented. When they say that, they are literally a panic right now. So if you try to leverage them and get panics, you have been warned. The other thing that I would say is there's two big things. One, you can get panics leveraging this, which would be difficult to know that if it's your like, to me, I'd be like, did I use it wrong? But the other thing is diagnose the unexpected, better error handling. The error handling's bad for these green threads at this point, or I'm not going to say bad, but it could be improved. And so if your product is panicking when you're using this, and the error handling is not the best so far, it might be very difficult for you to know if it's you or them or somewhere in between. So anyways, just keep that in mind if you're going to jump out there and use it. But other than that, it doesn't seem like they have a whole lot more to do. Honestly, these two functions will probably take a decent amount of time, but they're not too difficult. And then, I think like this is pretty easy. Removing the logging, better and error handling will take some time and diligence and isn't fun work, but isn't too bad either. This one, I don't know that this is a big deal because like this is just the compiler. I say just the compiler. I mean, it takes time to compile your thing. I'm not building anything big enough for the compiler to take time on, so it's not a big deal to me. That's what I'm saying. All right. Google kills ZSQL. That was baiting you all. They're renaming it to Google SQL because I don't know why. That's what Google decided to do. If you were using ZSQL, it's being renamed to Google SQL. I think that their goal here is to bring this in line with like their BigQuery and stuff, as they try to make it more integrated in the Google ecosystem. Now, this has always been part of the Google ecosystem, but I think that's their goal here. So, yeah. Dutch, I do live. I do. So anyways, Google didn't actually kill it. It's there. Happy Monday. Sunday. Something I'm excited about. I have been gaming almost solely on Linux for a couple of years now. 2 years now. And I love what the community has been doing here. It's probably the biggest open source thing that has impacted me for a while is the community around gaming. Now, I just saw this, which was the formation of the Open Gaming Collective. And there's some Asus Linux, there's some hardware people in here as well as software people in here. And the big mission here is to basically better hardware compatibility with fewer duplicated efforts. Fewer duplicated efforts means that we get a more unified push towards making everything more improved. And I'm really excited about that. I think that Steam, I wish I saw Steam a part of this, because honestly, Steam has done has done quite a bit as well. And I know that they don't have, they support their hardware that they produce, but and it's supported well, but I think that they could join this. I hope to see them join this, because I think that they could be a great force for it. So anyways, I love to see that. I think it's awesome. Cool. All right, that's the open source news. Now, the next part is kind of open source because we have some languages that we all love and adore here, and there are some changes coming up to it. And I thought we should talk about them. We got some releases. And they're pretty awesome. I have turned into a guitar. That is true. Do you not see this as competitors of Steam trying to get together to fight them, as Steam is killing it with Linux gaming? No, I didn't see that. Maybe I didn't see it. Like, I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying I didn't see that. A lot of these people, like, these are just open source projects, right? And I think that these are good. You're right that they're kind of competitors, but if they're not getting paid, right? If they're not getting paid, now some of these are like Asus Linux is you know, probably not part of the Steam Deck, right? So some of these are like have monetary value tied behind this, right? Where they're wanting to sell hardware or whatnot to Linux gamers. But those are not really competitors to SteamOS, in my opinion. Actually, I believe Steam Deck has Asus stuff in it already, right? I'd have to look. I feel like the Steam Deck has Asus stuff in it. Oh, does Asus have a Steam Deck competitor? Oh, now that's interesting. So maybe you're right. I haven't actually looked at those other. I'm kind of with Dutch here. I wouldn't consider them a competitor, but sure. It can play games. Tell you what, my kids have been enjoying Hogwarts Legacy. There you go. They play that on the Steam Deck. That's all. They don't. My kids didn't like the Steam Deck as much as I thought that they were going to, because they like playing on the Xbox and it plays all the games that they want. And we're not like out on the move a whole lot. So like mobile gaming hasn't been a big thing. So I thought they would like the Steam Deck better than they have. And Grounded 2 is about the only other thing that they play on the Steam Deck. So £600. Thing's heavy. Heavy. Sorry, I can never not. Can never not make that joke. I love the pound. I love the pound. Because it's so good at making jokes about. I have nothing against the pound. The dog pound. I know. There's so many great like play on words with the currency pound. And I just can't help myself every single time. Every single time. All right, what does this thing have? So basically it's just a this looks like the specs of this looks like they just straight up took the Steam Deck. I actually think that they probably shouldn't have done this. Like having 100% of the sRGB, it probably upped the cost, and really latency is probably a bigger deal. I see. So my question here with this, I don't know what shadow blip does. What does shadow blip do? Yeah, this is just like some open source code. So this is interesting because like a lot of these I feel like are not direct competitors to Steam Deck, right? Like you could say like SteamOS versus Pika OS is maybe a competitor, but like a lot these aren't like paid things. So like a lot of these are communities that are doing something that they find useful and that they like and they enjoy, because they don't like SteamOS because of XYZ, because of its hardware limitations, because it's just on Steam stuff, because you know, whatever it is, and they want their own take on it. And so I don't feel like this is you know, like I don't think that GIMP thinks of Photoshop as a competitor, right? Like I realize that they play in the same thing, but like those people are maintaining the thing that they enjoy. So I'm not sure. I really don't know. It's a good question to bring up though. Oh, is it on Linux? Is the Asus thing on Linux or on Windows? This runs Windows? That is gross. Oh no. Hopefully it doesn't have Microsoft Front Door protecting it. Oh, you'll appreciate this. I was in the meeting with some people from GitHub. I was in a meeting with them, talking about some of the things that we needed. And I don't remember exactly what happened, but it came up about some security stuff. And I made a joke about Microsoft Front Door being the most secure platform because it defaults to closed. And everybody just on the platform went silent. And I was like, oh, I forgot these people are Microsoft employees. They just all went silent. And I was like, oh yeah, wrong crowd. There's like a nervous chuckle, and then we're just like moving on. I was like, whoops. A Microsoft by Association Hub. Yeah. The Microsoft by Association Hub. It was pretty funny to me, but also awkward at the time. Interesting. I don't know now. I don't know. I'm going to say that I still stand by that this is because, like, if it really means just better hardware capabilities with fewer duplicated efforts, like this should actually benefit SteamOS as well, right? Because like one of their biggest things that they're trying to do here is the kernel efforts to operate an upstream first approach, meaning all patches shipped by the OGC will be at least in review for eventual inclusion in the Linux kernel. So like their whole goal is to get this in the upstream kernel. And so to me, this would benefit Steam without Steam needing to do anything, right? So to me, no, this was just to make it better for everyone. I could be wrong. 100%. I'm happy, not happy, but I'll be willing to admit that I'm wrong if that is what it is. But I'll continue to watch it. All right, let's talk about our open source languages that we all either love or hate, or love to hate, or maybe a mixture of the two. I feel like I have mixed feelings about Go all the time. And maybe the newest release, Go 1.26, has me even feeling more guilty about hating it as much as I do. You hate Odin? Okay, well, we're not talking about Odin, so we'll move on. All right, here we go. Go in 1.26, we have the built-in new function, which creates a new variable, now allows it operand and be can't speak English. Now allows its operand to be an expression specifying the initial value of the variable. So this is a simple example. Basically, you're able to do this now, where you do this, and that's pretty awesome. It just simplifies some stuff that you had to do multi-line because Go's so simple, and they stripped out all the features that they have spent the last 26 releases of Go re-adding all of those really features that a language wants. And so now you can do this, which is pretty cool. Maybe the biggest thing out of all of this is this. Generic types may now refer to themselves in their own type parameter list. This change simplifies the implementation of complex data structures and interfaces. Now, I have always complained that Go generics were kind of second-rate citizens and they didn't support all the things. And people would argue against me, and I would then have to go into all of the things that they didn't implement. And people didn't even realize some of these things weren't implemented because, to be honest, you don't use them all that often, all the time in your generics. But when you got into a more complicated generic, when you're creating like a hash map or something like that, they would arise and it would be a challenge. So this is really good to see that they understand these challenges of the generics and they're going to continue to improve on them. Now, there is there's a lot of other things that were released. The green tea garbage collector is now enabled by default. It was previously experimental. I'm really excited about this because it's a lot better on not doing random things to your memory. So the old, as memory prices go up, we've got to look at what the garbage collector is doing. And the Go garbage collector was super lightweight and super good until it wasn't sometimes. And I've seen great improvement in the green tea garbage collector, just in consistency. I'm not going to say that it is uses less memory or less CPU cycles. It's much more consistent in my testing than the other ones. And the baseline CGO overhead has been reduced by 30%. Fantastic. So, anyways, that's those are the highlights. Dutch, this. The fact that you couldn't just pointer that is crazy. Absolutely. And I remember having to do Kubernetes stuff, and they use string variables absolutely everywhere. This is probably some of the biggest problems with Go, is because it's so simple, it left out a lot of features of a real language, which had its pluses and minuses. For me, if I was doing a stupid simple, for example, if you're talking about like a very, very generic microservice here, really the thing of a microservice here, wow, this is a terrible, very quick, let's do this right. This is a database. No hating. You can go ahead and hate. It was drawn quickly. A really, really simple microservice has some HTTP. We'll just say HTTP. It's HTTPS because we're good like that. And really all it does is makes requests to the database and gets that data back and responds with that data. And when you have a just stupid simple microservice, it's so simple and easy to read and reason about, and I absolutely love it. It almost forced us away from it almost forced us away from like the Java standard of overcomplicating, factoring, and interfacing everything. And it was a breath of fresh air from that. And I really appreciated it for that. Now, the problem is when you try to go more complicated than this, to anything more complicated, Go then became a millstone around your neck because it didn't have the things to do more complicated, right? It didn't have all those constructs that allowed you to think about more complicated topics at a simpler state, at a higher level. And so they've slowly been adding those on. But now Go isn't as simple as it was anymore. I'm not sure whether I like the new things that they've added, right? Because part of me says, well, Go's job was to be stupid simple. And when I didn't need stupid simple anymore, I should have reached for another tool. And I should have left Go alone. So part of me actually is not sure if I like this change or not. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know if people can relate to that. Yeah. CGO, it's CSGO. I had never made that connection. Converting to a string took more than writing a half hour. Yeah. Dutch, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. All right, let's move on to a language universally loved by all developers and is blazing fast. Rust 1.93 is out in the world, and people are happy to announce it. You'll notice these people are just pleased. Here, happy, actual joy. This is more like we're just happy, we're just pleased to get this out the door so we don't have to work on it anymore. Whereas the Rust team is actually full of enthusiasm and joy to announce 1.93. All right. Just ignoring those Linux maintainers. All right. So you can install this now, but what is the big things of Rust 1.93? Well, for the first part, Musel now targets 1.2.5. And this actually brought about a lot of change, and there's a reason it took so long, as there was actually breaking changes in updating Musel this far. So for the Rust ecosystem, the primary motivation to this was to receive huge improvements to the DNS resolver. So this is actually going to bring a lot of good improvements to networking. And it took quite a bit of effort. I know that this has been in the works, like it's been talked about for a little while, but 1.2.4 came with breaking changes with the removal of several legacy compatibility symbols that the Rust libc crate was using. So they had to migrate the whole Rust C crate to do it. So anyways, networking is about to get way better in Rust, which it was already the de facto tool for networking because it's the de facto tool for everything basically, but that's beyond the point. The other major change here that we received with this was with the global allocator to use thread local storage. Now, one of the big problems with the global allocator not using thread local storage was that it was actually really easy to create to recreate infinite recursion because you didn't know what used the global allocator. So you might actually accidentally create an infinite loop in memory allocation. So the 1.93 adjusts the internals of a standard library to permit global allocators written in Rust to use std's thread local and std's thread current without re-entry concerned by using the system allocator instead. So you can go read more about that. I don't think that this is going to really affect many people unless you're making like a high performance database system or things like that, or probably networking. So you're going to talk about your really in-depth things like Tokyo are probably going to actually get a lot of use out of this. A lot of us, this can kind of go by the wayside, but it should make those things easier if you're trying to do them and less error prone as well. These other things probably don't really relate to a lot of people. If you're writing assembly, you can use attributes on lines instead of against the whole assembly. So it used to be that you could only configure the assembly as a whole, which made you make a lot of blocks. Instead, you can do lines like this. Other than that, we got stabilized features, and it's pretty cool released. You're killing it, Rust team. We love you. But yeah, this is the reentrance. When implementing a global allocator, one has to be careful not to create an infinitely recursive implementation by accident, as many constructs in the Rust standard library may allocate in their implementation. For example, on some platforms, mutex may allocate, so using it is highly problematic in a global allocator. For this reason, one should generally stick to the library's features available in core and using the std in global allocator. A new feature from the std are also guaranteed to not use global allocator to allocate. So it's pretty cool. Like I said, probably not going to affect most people, but it's there. Now, I have gotten onto GitHub quite heavily over the last year of forgetting its developer platform. So while I was sick, I was very sick. I did one thing while I was sick, and I basically sent a letter to Thomas, whatever his face, about the problems with GitHub as it is today. And one of those things is I actually offered to come in and become the CEO of GitHub and for them to break GitHub off again, and I would make it the best platform for developers again. That has obviously not been accepted, as that would be a huge change. But I have talked to my reps a lot about the fact that there are no new features to GitHub and that it seems to have gotten forgotten. And you know what? I'm actually pleased to say, I don't know if it's me. Like my contract with them is not that huge. I don't know that I have that much sway. I do write things out really, really concisely for them. So maybe I just reason with them, but I'm guessing it's the entire community as a whole that they've seen and not just my efforts. But GitHub Actions, early February 2026 updates. If you guys are on GitHub Actions and are leveraging them, they have actually made improvements to them. GitHub Actions Runner Scale Set client is now available in public preview. This is a Go-based module that lets you build custom auto-scaling solutions for GitHub Action runners without requiring Kubernetes. This is actually really cool. I actually personally don't mind the Kubernetes one, but the fact that they're thinking about people that are not leveraging Kubernetes, they have a standalone Go-based module that lets you build custom auto-scaling solutions for GitHub Actions. So whether you have a data center that you leverage with physical machines or don't want Kubernetes in the logic there is a path forward for you. And more than anything, this says we have thought about doing something other than Copilot for the last 6 months. So I'm actually really excited about this. Not that I need to leverage this because I don't necessarily, but that it's also really cool. This has a lot of implications too, because if you use runners that are Windows-based or Mac-based, those aren't as easy to leverage in Kubernetes, right? And so containers also have some of their own limitations as far as things go as well. So again, this is cool for some people. It doesn't directly affect me, but I'm really happy that it's out and it could affect you. Please try being a DevOps user. GitHub gets way more improvements than DevOps now. Are you meaning Azure DevOps? Is that what you're referring to? Not like the practice of DevOps? Okay. Sorry. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't reading between the lines on that. So I find this interesting because I had a very long conversation. Let's see. I can share. Let me put it this way. I believe that GitHub Actions and Azure DevOps will merge in the future. I just don't see them maintaining two platforms that do the same thing, right? Now, which one wins? That's an interesting bet. And I think that maybe what you're saying would point towards GitHub Actions winning because it has the massive community support. And I think that that's actually a good thing. I know that a lot of people really loved Azure DevOps, but I think that it would be better for them to move to the thing that more people leverage and to keep it platform agnostic, right? So one of the problems with Azure DevOps is it's kind of geared towards Azure. I think you can use it without really leveraging all of Azure, but it's kind of stuck in there. And I think that putting their effort into GitHub Actions actually makes a lot more sense because it's a platform anybody can use, even if they're on AWS. So Microsoft would get a slice of the pie no matter where you deployed to. So I actually think that makes a ton more sense. It will take a long time to retire. When can we come up with a different term for the practice versus concept of DevOps? So I actually try not to use the word DevOps. I really do. And the reason is the term is too overloaded, right? So the term means too much to too many people, and it's too hard to know what your understanding of DevOps is. Yeah. No. Please, Russell. It's DevSec MLOps. Okay? Please. DevSec MLOps or go home. Like, whatever. DevSec ML Platform Ops. DevSec ML Platform Ops. That's what we do. And if you're not on board, you're totally in 2025. Okay. Oh, I forgot Finn. Gosh dang it. I was so close. DevSec ML platform FinOps. Yes. I was this close. I was this close to look, I was in early 2026. This is now February 2026. I was in January 2026. Okay. But yeah, so I actually try to not use the word DevOps because I don't know where the person hearing it comes from. And so I just find the term useless. Now, I use it more than I should because in the end, how else do I try to get people in the generic idea of the thing that I'm talking about? So I don't have a good solution for this at this point. Sorry, going all the way back to going all the way back to when can we stop saying the practice versus the concept of DevOps? Jack of all branches, master of none. Gosh dang it. So we have 2 t-shirts here. DevSec ML platform FinOps and Jack of all branches, master of none. Those are 2 fantastic t-shirts that we're definitely going to have. So the other interesting topic there, right, is we're talking about the difference from the practice versus the concept. Look, and you said no offense there, which I really could take. I will really not take offense from a stranger on the internet. So like, go for it. Like, just lay it out there. The other interesting statement here is, what is the difference between the concept and the practice? In my theory is there is no difference between the practice and the concept other than like saying the practice of writing good code and the concept of writing good code. There's very little difference, at least. The real thing is that does your company actually practice the concepts, or do they use it as a crutch to do operations, just regular ops, right? And that's a whole nother thing. And this is like, because there's so many interpretations of what it is. Yeah, I don't want to get into that argument right now. It's a lot. The term is just wildly abused. That's the problem, right? Like it's just wildly abused, and so like this is why I try to just like sometimes I use it as a narrowing thing. Like if I say DevOps, at least it gets you, in a section. Now that section is so wide because it's widely abused, but at least it gets us thinking in the right direction, and then I can clarify from there. But I do try to just avoid it anyways because it has so much. The same with platforms. Like you say platforms, and what does it mean? What does it mean? It means a lot to a lot of different people. All right. Let's finish what GitHub Actions. There is something I have literally said should be a part of GitHub Actions that hasn't been a part of GitHub Actions, which is finally a part of GitHub Actions. And I do believe this was my thing because I have been complaining for about 1.5 years. I have written up how they could do it, how they should do it. I have even proven how to do it using their API. So like, if I can do it leveraging their API, gosh dang it, they should be able to do it. Okay? Like, they should be able to do it. I basically did the work for them, which makes me really angry that it took this long, but they've done it, which makes me excited because now it's like maybe they're listening to us. Allowed action settings now available for all plan types. Action allow listing is now available across all GitHub plans, bringing security controls to free team and enterprise customers. You can now define exactly which actions and reusable workflows run in your repositories to enforce least privilege principles, protect against potentially compromised actions, and maintain consistent policies. So if you guys haven't leveraged this, this is basically saying, hey, do you know what GitHub actions your teams use? Like third-party actions from random people. And are they following best practices? They're giving you more controls, and you can actually disable or limit GitHub actions in your organization and enforce policies. Now, it used to be that this was an all or nothing thing. Their control here was, can you use third-party actions? Yes or no? And this was terrible. So it's getting better. Now, it's still not great, and there's a company out here that does this way better still. But it's getting better, and it's one of those things that I've been asking for a long time. These things, not a big deal. I mean, if your macOS Intel image now available for GitHub hosted runners, and Visual Studio image now available on GitHub. I mean, if you want these things, you can do it. That has to be one heavy image. Imagine having Visual Studio in a GitHub action. Imagine how bad this feels. Imagine being how bad it must feel to be excited that this exists. Like somebody out there is excited that this exists and solves a problem, and how bad that must feel that that's your problem that you have to be excited that got solved. Just throwing that out there. No hate, just throwing that out there. All right, that's it for the news. Did I miss anything big and important? Did you guys see anything that I should have talked about? I was going to take the time here to just go over what's next for the channel. I think I'm pretty excited about it. I'm pretty excited, mainly because I haven't been streaming and I missed you all. You guys have fantastic takes. Aces need it for their held game. Held game. That's right, they did. Alex Dane. I don't know why I said Alex. It was the last. I don't know. Thank you for your sub. Thank you so much. You know what? It's been so long. My sub thing, I'm sure, is missing its token. I will refresh that before next week's stream. Thank you for the sub, though. So for those of you that missed the beginning one, I won't go in detail. But I have an arm injury that I got, and I'm going to need another surgery on that. But it did render my arms pretty much useless most of January, which sucked. I can use them now pretty well, which is good. I also was like super sick over almost all of December, which didn't help my mental state in January, because I had time off in December and I got to do none of the stuff that I needed or wanted to in December. And so that like, I needed the break. I also, have been wanting to rethink how I stream, and that's something that I did want to talk about. I feel like me just plodding along on some of my stuff that I need to get done is maybe not the most entertaining streams. And so I'm probably going to cut back on some of those. And I'll probably still do some just for fun, especially when there's something fun. But I have some ideas of like dedicated streams where we're going to do X, Y, or Z, and we're going to try to achieve whatever. And I have ideas for all this year on those ideas, and I really want to run with them. So like one of them is the AI games. That's a thing where we're trying to achieve something. We're trying to achieve more knowledge on how to leverage the AIs in workflows. We're trying to understand what their true capabilities are and that type of stuff. So I have some other ideas on some of those, and I'm working the remainder of this month to kind of lay those out a little bit and understand when we can do them. So I'm hoping to do some more of those types of streams. Another one that I really like that I want to get back to, but takes a lot of time. So the big problem with these streams is they actually take a lot of work up front. They're not like, I can sit down and just program something, which is kind of what I wanted to do. But what I found with I can sit down and program something, which takes very little time to get into, because I'm just working on some personal project, is that A, they don't make very fun streams. B, I'm not such a great software engineer that I cannot just not think about what I'm typing and go for it. And so if I'm interacting with chat and stuff, I can't program at the same time. Vimarm, yeah, Vimarm is a real condition. Let me tell you about Vimarm, and it sucks. It's not carpal tunnel. I hurt my elbows. I hurt the tendons in my elbows, and they didn't regrow properly. And so literally the procedure that I have coming up is where they'll go in and cut out parts of my tendon to let it regrow properly again. So if you think that sounds like fun, let me know. Let me know, because you need help. You need help. Okay, so I want to do more of those types of things. The one thing that I was going to say that I haven't gotten to do, but I really want to do, but it just takes a ton of time to prepare for, is I want to do more on the database side. But like those streams take a lot. I did this consensus stream, and then we did Raft, and it was really cool. But it took a ton of prep time outside of just the stream itself. But I want to get back to doing that. And maybe we do like some smaller ones on the database side. I want to implement a really stupid similarity search on top of it. I want to do some things like that. And so I have some plans for that as well. So we're going to do some very, very well-defined streams like that outside of the news. So basically my streams are going to become the news. That will happen every Saturday. And then we're going to hopefully like once a month do one of these things. And hopefully people find that really interesting. Hopefully it's really educational. Also somewhat maybe entertaining. I have a couple ideas. I'll just throw them out here. There's no reason you guys don't need to know them. One idea is I want to actually I want to make a simple production service leveraging as much AI stuff as possible. So I want to go through, make the workflows and leverage those things and see what the cost is. I want to see how much the service stays up. So we're going to actually tie it into real uptime. We're going to do something like really simple, like a URL search shortener, but we're going to make it public where you can sign up for it. We're going to then rate limit it and stuff like that. And we're going to see how well we can get all this stuff done. And we're going to then add on services to it and things like that to try to make it better and see how much we can do with a really, really simple service. But we're also going to leverage like deployments and things like that. So that's one of them. The database is another one of them. Like I said, I have a couple things on the database. So one, we have Raft right now. But one of the things that we need to do is something called multi-raft, where basically you have different raft consensus based off of the data set so that you don't have to have a replication factor of your entire cluster. You can have a replication factor of 3. So replication factor is one. That's an interesting problem. We have the other one is just doing like similarity search. And I mean like the really simple. There's a lot of really complicated similarity searches that are a lot better, but we can do the simple one. I'm thinking of a really interesting similarity search is just a bad hashing algorithm where the more similar something is, it hashes closer to the other thing. So it's just bad hashing algorithm, which is pretty interesting. So I thought we maybe implement a bad hashing algorithm for similarity search. Like I said, there's a lot better ways out there after that. Like you can do the multi-tiered graphing, but the bad hashing sound like an easy and fun way of doing it and talking about it. So there's definitely some cool things to do on that side as well. Then we have the AI games that I have some really cool ideas for that we'll try to expand before we do the AI games. Like I said, they might become the summer games at this point, just because everything that happened in December. And right now I don't have the time to run the AI games. There's a lot of stuff I'm doing at work. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. How's that sound to people? And then of course, I'll probably just program randomly every once in a while, especially if I find something interesting or neat or want to do something cool. But yeah. How were people's holidays? Literally haven't talked to you guys since before, like really at the very start of December. How did everybody go? What did y'all do? I monologued and I feel like I scared people off monologuing. I'm so good at monologuing these days. Tell you what, that is what speaking to a camera all day, I say all day, speaking to a camera will make you good at monologuing. Oh, I'm sorry, Dane. I'm sorry. We're getting to that point in our life. My dad's health is also. This is actually why I moved to Ohio from Kentucky. Like it was definitely a step up. But yeah, just to move closer to my my aging parents. Yeah. I realized that when my tendons didn't heal back properly, right? My body was like, "Nah, we're not going to recover from this. I don't care what you say. There's nothing you can say to make me recover from this properly." That's basically what my arm said to the rest of my body. Yeah, which was news to me. Oh, did anybody else try to update I didn't update Arch all of January, and so much happened. This would have been good for the news. So Arch went from NVIDIA to NVIDIA Open or open source or something like this. This was actually kind of a big deal. So basically, NVIDIA dropped their support of NVIDIA. So you had to go to NVIDIA Open and open LTS. Basically, you had to update Arch this way. There was a couple things that happened here. So the upgrade of Arch was actually somewhat painful because not only that, but you had to update the keyring. So the keyring for contributors changed. So before you did this, you actually had to do this because this would fail because the keyring was changed. So you needed to run this, then this. It's been a little rough. Minmo didn't support NVIDIA Open yet. So I know that you guys probably don't know what Minmo is. Minmo. Is it Minmo? It's not Minmo. Mimo. No, it's not Mimo. What? This. Marinmo. All right. Now, obviously, I like leveraging it instead of. I like leveraging this. This to me is just way better than the other one, which I also forgot its name right now because that's where I'm at. Anyways, this one's way better, but it does not work with NVIDIA Open just yet. So I gotta wait. Obviously, I can't do any Python here soon. You bypassed January also, just updated last week. Did you run into this when you were updating? It wasn't a problem. I took care of it like a pro. Oh, you ran into the keyring issue, but not NVIDIA? Okay, fair. The keyring issue took me by surprise. I've never had to do this before, so like I had to Google it. But it makes sense. These things get updated. It was not difficult. And then yeah, the NVIDIA part has taken a little bit of time. So basically everything went to NVIDIA Open, which I think this is probably a good thing in general. I don't have anything negative at this point to say. I think this is probably the correct thing to do. Now I haven't played any games since I've done this. I'm on limited mouse and keyboard. So no game playing really for me right now. I can use a controller, but yeah, that's only so much you can do with a controller. I actually love this. There's so many reasons like you should use this instead of the other thing that I won't even say because nobody likes Jupyter notebooks. To the fact of it's all Python. So, you know, when you have a Jupyter notebook and you're like, I want to make this a script, right? You have to like copy and paste out of the Jupyter notebook, right? It's not Python. So the thing is with this, it's actually all Python. And you can literally just run the script that you wrote in Marimo. I want to call it Marimo because my daughter's name is Mari, M-A-R-I, Mari. So I want to call it Marimo, but I don't think that's what it's called. I have no idea what it's called. Marimo. I'm going with Marimo. Marimo is easiest, especially because I called my eldest Mo a lot of times. So there's just my two daughters, Marimo. And I know that's wrong, but that's okay. The coolest thing about that, like there's so many things. It's super clean. If you use UV, if you use of, the correct way to spell of, if you use of with it, you can actually make reproducible notebooks because you can actually tie to dependencies. So I wouldn't actually launch it this way. I would launch it with of because the really cool thing that I've done, so the one time that I trained before I was out sick, the thing that I trained, I use Marimo, and I leveraged of, so it's fully reproducible with like tagged inline. When you run it on your machine, it will pull the same version that I leveraged. Amazing. So my notebook is fully reproducible. You'll have a 5-month-old version in there, and it's super cool. So I really think that there's no reason not to use Marimo. Like, it's just the future of it. Yeah, I highly recommend it. I will link it here. I can't say enough good about it. I'm at the point that I would not touch a Jupyter notebook to save my job. That's probably a lie. I probably would. But I would complain about it because I'm an expert complainer. This is fantastic. While we're talking about fantastic tool, does anybody else have a anyways, what we're doing here. Oh, I was talking about upgrading. How's everybody else's January go? And December, since I didn't get to see you all. It's so awesome to see you all back. I actually figured that I was going to stream to nobody since I was just back. In particular, Marimo's package sandbox feature. This is what I'm talking about, which is amazing. Where you can build in everything. I just love this feature. So yeah, this is the easiest way is to create and edit in your book with UVX command. I was gonna say there's just you have to do just a little bit more. But yeah, you can then just run them like this. It's so cool. It's so cool. Let me post this in. What are you working in, Dane? What language? Rust? Did you get a Rust job? The elusive, ever elusive Rust job? Ooh, an ISP. I love ISPs. Just joking. Just joking. I feel like ISPs are... I hope my ISP is not listening right now. Your only side hustle app is PHP, so you're making money. That's what I know about PHP. Is they're all driving Lambos. There you go. The potential for I have used a tool and I'm forgetting its name right now, and I'm so upset because it's a fantastic tool that I have used like 3 times to get me out of a pinch. And I've been like, I need to use this like on a daily basis to interact with my cloud. Um and I've just been sitting here blanking on it because like it is a fantastic I want to say it's like Steam Pipe. Oh, yeah, it is Steam Pipe. Okay. Steam Pipe. If you guys haven't used Steam Pipe, you should go get Steam Pipe. Another fantastic tool that I want to use on my daily. I have used a couple times in the past. It is SQL for the cloud. Like instead of clicking around, you can just select the data you want out of your clouds. This is just an amazing project. Just an amazing project. Absolutely love it. Yeah, anyways. I need to put a list of like my favorite tools. Dan, you use this? Yeah, it's amazing. I like absolutely just I need to make a website with my favorite tools. Also so that I can come back and find it when I'm like stem pipe, steam pipe, pipeline. Anyways, I've used it a couple of times now to solve specific problems, but I need to I want to just get it out and use it every day for a week. Because yeah, it's just I've not seen this. Turbot pipes? What is turbot pipes? What is this? What is turbot pipe? Why does it take me to the middle of their website when I go to it? I want to know what this is, but like this doesn't tell me. I just want to know what it is. Like, tell me what it is. Like, I know you want me to sign up for it, but like, what is it? I know what Steam Pipe is, and I'm getting that this is like Steam Pipe for the cloud. But like, I don't know what that means. What? Oh well. Oh well. Steam Pipe's cool. OS Query are lifesavers? Yeah. I have not really used I feel like I've heard this before. I've never been a system admin. OS Query. You need to enable JavaScript to run this app. Oh, that's fantastic. Let's see. OS Query is an open source, is an SQL powered operating system instrumentation monitoring and analytics framework available on Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. Cool. Okay. So this is basically Steam Pipe for your OS. Okay. Cool. Yeah, OS on-prem. So it has like a catalog of all available. Does it have a client, or do you run it from like your laptop and it reaches out across the network to the other ones, or do you have to like run a client on all the machines that you want to hit? You'd have to have a client, or else you'd have to have a SSH access, right? That would be weird for you to be like SSHing to all of them. So I feel like it would have to be client based. Or it would be like part of your MDM, right? I'm not sure. Okay, so it does have a client. Fair. Oh, it has a library in Go? Well then. Oh, in my update of my system, Firefox reset on me. It didn't have vertical tabs anymore. I had to redo all of my hard work, which was a little weird. Okay. Anyhow. What should we do? I didn't have any plans. I need to go make some tea. If you guys are still around after I make some tea, actually, I need to run the. You guys need to play a game of Wordle while I'm making some tea. I didn't have any real plans for this, so we could just end the stream here. I've actually really enjoyed hanging out for a little bit, first time in a while. We could draw out some of the plans for streams that I had, and kind of how I see them unfolding. Because they won't be like after the news, they'll be their own streams. I also can talk a little bit about the YouTube content, because I haven't made YouTube content for a year now, and probably people have noticed. Maybe nobody noticed, because who am I? But I'm gonna we can talk a little bit about why and what I plan on doing, if that's interesting to people, or we can write something in Rust. I haven't touched Rust in a month and a half, so like my Rust is rusty. It's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rusty. We could type a little bit. I have to save my typing for work. I can't type too much. My arms only have a little bit of typing in them, and I save that mostly for work these days. We can talk about 10x, which is a painful. It's not about AI. 10x, most people are like, oh, that's how much AI is making me faster. No, 10x is about how to cut away tendons in your body. You know that they use it for bone spurs and cutting tendons. I get scared by that. Like, you use the same thing to cut off bone spurs as you're going to take to my tendon. They're not even going to put me to sleep for this. I didn't realize this, but they will literally avoid putting you to sleep at all costs, because is it healthy for you to oh gosh. Is this really what people are searching? All right. What was I searching? I got distracted, honestly. I think this is maybe not. Is it healthy for you to be put under general and they try to avoid it. They try to avoid it. Now, what they're going to do is they're going to give a nerve block to my arm while doing this. So I'm going to be awake, and the cool thing is I'm going to actually get to see them scraping away at my tendons. I don't know if that's a cool I think it's a cool thing. I'm excited about it. But that is I'm not going to be asleep while they Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Did I break auto jump? Auto jump arg parser. Okay, well, I'll have to do this the hard way. Is it healthy for me to be tucked in? I think it's healthy to be tucked in. I'm gonna have to find all my own code. This is so difficult. Look at that. I had to. Oh, this is gonna be super annoying because like every time it tries to call auto jump, I'm gonna have to fix this. If people don't know, you can do this and it like the reason it does it on CD is because at this point CD pipes it through auto jump so that it can add it to the list, right? How did this happen? I have literally just done the largest upgrade of any Arch machine known to humankind, so give it some give it a little leeway. So let's see. We got a source. Do we have to source? No, we didn't update this to we haven't updated this to the new standards, right? So I have a new we made that that's actually pretty cool. We made that secrets manager and we need to update this to be the secrets manager. But until we do that, we need to source Twitch chat. And do we need chat GPT? I don't think we need chat GPT, do we? Cargo run game Wordle. There we go. We'll see if this works. Hopefully this works. Apparently it's working. So alerts have a bigger problem because Twitch's auth is maybe the biggest pile of garbage I have touched in a while. And it makes me angry because it makes it is fine if you are running in some big So for all of you that don't know, you can play Wordle now by just typing in a 5-letter word. So if you'd like to guess, give a guess. It's the whole Twitch chat is playing Wordle. The time doesn't start kicking down or ticking, either one, until the first guess of the round is made, and then you have 30 seconds to get your guess in. The guess with the most votes is the winner. If you type in 3 words, the last one you type in will be your vote. That's how this works. Yeah, I struggle with their so like the thing is they're a strict OAuth 2. So when I say a strict, that means you cannot get a you can't get like a simple token to access the service with, right? You have to implement OAuth 2 workflows, which is fine, and probably what I would say from a end result production grade thing is good, is the right way. I will even go as far as say is the right way to do it. So you only ever have short-lived tokens that you communicate with the Twitch stream that they can revoke whenever they like. The problem is this is not inducive to demoing and testing locally. It's just really rough and isn't fun. Not only that, it's not a blast. It's absolutely not a blast, Russell. And the problem is it has to have like an endpoint to come back to, and that endpoint needs to have something running all the time that's ready for, hey, you just changed the token and we're refreshing here. And the thing is, I don't have something that's always running. So if I miss that, I'm kind of out of water and have to reboot everything. And since it doesn't have a real UI, very nice, Russell. Anyways, I'm really annoyed with all of that. And so like the real solution is I have to run something all the time that will be listening for these events. You're just using Dane as a patsy. I'm just teasing. Anyways, I need to go make some tea. We can sit here and complain about what needs to be done. It's a lot of work. It's just a lot of work. That's my problem. It's just a ton of work. I'll be right back. I'll make some tea. It will take about 5 minutes. he's decided that he's going to be part of this one. Yeah, aren't you? I need to sit down there. You good boy? I'm holding the chair from spinning on you. Yeah. I know. While I was doing the news, I kept the door shut. He was very upset about this. Yeah. Are you breathing nice and loud into their ears? I forgot to turn the music on, so now you just get dog sounds. Ah, does that feel good? You're still in my seat. Yeah, you are. You are. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. All right. Get down. There we go. Good boy. Bark for siege. Very nice. Try and get the dog on your side. I know. All right. All right. All right. Where were we? Let's get a little music going. I'm going to. Now, do you guys like the music, or would you prefer to listen to your own music? And I could actually make it where it doesn't actually stream out to the stream. I can't do that today, but I could. Ooh, that was a bit loud. Sorry about that. Yeah. Thank you for the welcome back there on YouTube. I'm happy to be back. Yeah, that music definitely came in. It came in a little bit more abruptly than I meant for it to. So I go back and forth with this because, like, I could not play any music and then let you listen to your own music. I like listening to something. But I don't have to listen to something that can be streamed, and I can just have it silent for you all. But then if I'm, like, really into the music, well. Okay, let's solve this one, and then we'll move on. I do multi-stream, yeah. I mean, where else would I get paid? I have to stream to Kick. I don't stream to Kick, but I just stream to YouTube and Twitch. And sorry, right now, if you're on YouTube, you can't play this game yet. I need to tie YouTube chat into this. So basically, this is Wordle. You can see that Russell made a guess, and any 5-letter word is going to be accepted as a guess, except that's not a word. It's not in the dictionary, at least. It might be a word. So you see that he guessed timer. The time started going down. It means that everybody now has 30 seconds to get their guess in. And you can vote for the same word. Anyways, it's just Wordle played by Twitch chat. I do plan on getting YouTube hooked into it. I was talking about my problems with Twitch auth. It scares me to bring another auth into this. I don't know what YouTube's going to bring into it, but it's a lot of work. Let's see. No, it's not that, because it's not an M. Oh no, Russell, save us. That's not the right. That I was so proud of myself. I was like, oh, the M's in the wrong spot. We'll just put it over here. But this is just so wrong because the E's in the wrong spot. There's no R. I just screwed that up. Thank you, Russell. Thank you. Let me vote for that too. Okay, never mind. You nailed it. You nailed it. Phil, it's the better supported. It's the better supported. Congratulations, Russell. It is the better supported. I'm happy to have you wherever you like watching best. That's really why I stream to multiple places. If somebody came to me and was like, I really like watching on Kick, I doubt it, but if they did, I would stream there too. I don't know if there's another place I should be streaming. If there is, it's not too bad. I have the chats combined here. The only thing I need to do is things like this don't support multiple streams yet. So I need to add support for YouTube into the Wordle game. Biome Miner sounds like an indie game on Twitch. It sounds like one of those what is it called when it's like an endless game where like it's just wave after wave as you like run around? It definitely sounds like that. All right. So YouTube is for your notification. You know what I probably should do is in the YouTube like description should have the links to the other places. I thought I did that. I'll have to verify. So basically, if I stream in those other places, you can find the other ones without like going out and finding it. So. All right. What were we going to do? Oh, so I have some ideas for some. I was going to say the YouTube videos. I haven't made a YouTube video for a little while, and it's because I found that I had two distinctly different types of content, and I've actually been talking to other people that I know that make YouTube videos. So the first type, which is the type that I majorly have, is light educational content. I wouldn't say that I was like the most highly educational content, but I like to share my opinions and my experiences, and did stuff like the Rust classes and things like that. Light educational content. So I did Rust, Kates, and like just general software, software. Whatever I was exploring at the time and learning about, I would share about. And that's kind of what I started out doing, and is the majority of the content. So there's this, and then very less, but I have like software engineering, humor content. And so these are like vastly different, and I had two real paths to go down. So I enjoy both of these, just to be clear to everyone. I enjoy doing both of these. I don't think that I have a great sense of humor, but these are so much fun to make, and it's fun to just, you know, poke fun at the things that we enjoy, right? I did a Kubernetes one where I poked fun at Kubernetes. I love Kubernetes. I work with Kubernetes all the time. I think it's done some great things. I poke fun at some of the things it doesn't do well. And I try to do that with all of them. Same with Scrum. I actually don't hate Scrum. As many people thought I hate Scrum coming out of that. I actually don't. I think a lot of people do it wrong. I think the majority of people do it very incorrectly. That's not what the take a lot of people took from that. But so I actually really enjoy these. I also really enjoy these. My heart is in, one of the things that I always try to do is look at this and say, can I make the world a little bit of a better place? And so that's kind of one of the goals of this is, can I help make the world just a little bit of a better place? And so my heart's in both is all I'm going to say. My heart's in both. Now, all of these are in this platform. And this platform, not software engineering platforms, please, is YouTube. Now, YouTube has algorithms, and the algorithms help people, like, coming from a software engineering side, the algorithms are there to keep you on the platform as long as possible. The more things you watch, the more ads they get to serve you, right? So in that sense, they actually really want to serve you something that you'll stick around and watch the whole thing of, right? And these two pieces of content are very different. They're different crowds of people. And I know this for a fact. There are people who would watch both of them, especially what I would call, like, I'm going to say my true fans, but like people who just really like supporting the work that I do. And I super appreciate those people, but those are the minority of people that are going to just be there to try to support you for the things that you're doing. And the thing that makes this even worse is YouTube then has a trouble recommending your videos, because they don't necessarily know, who's going to like these versus who's going to like these videos. And they don't necessarily know which type of content that video is. And so this is actually, now don't get me wrong, last year was a really rough year for me. Just an absolutely terribly rough year for me. And so that added to it. Like, I'm not going to say like, this is the only reason I haven't uploaded a video. Oh, last year was just a rough year. You guys know a lot of the stuff that's gone on. But I also have this sitting in the back of my mind. Now, I've talked to people like Togglebit, DevOps Directive, other people I know in the YouTubing and streaming place to get their advice. Because I have two paths. I can leave them as a single channel, and YouTube will continue to have trouble recommending videos. Or what I'm going to do is I'm going to split them into their own channels. So that is going to happen at the end of this month. Hopefully at the end of this month, start of next month. No hard deadlines. They're going to become their own channels. And this will let me make light educational content much faster. One of my problems that I've had was sometimes I feel like if you have a highly watched YouTube, you have to have like this highly polished thing. And you can't just say like, oh, I saw this article and I wanted to point out like 3 things on it. And it's just going to have a conversation like this. But I want to be able to have those. I want to have those where it's like, hey, AWS just posts this thing and here's the 3 things that I want you to know about it. And that didn't feel like it went with this at all. Also, like I said, I want to do some Rust. I want to do some ML tutorials. I want to do, I've been working quite a bit with ML. I want to do a set on just how to leverage ML in your life. And then a set on like how to train your own ML as I've been practicing. Or tweak an ML. So I want to do both of those. And those are all kind of different than this. So This is what I'm doing. Would YouTube be confused if you did only humor and shorts and only educational traditional videos? I don't know. So one of the interesting things there is, how would you tell? You'd have to run a pretty big experiment yourself. So I mean, like, I could attempt that. My goal here, what I'm going to try to do with this, is I'm going to try to drive awareness from this. So I'm going to do humorous engineering content here. And I'm going to drive awareness of the educational stuff. Like, hey, if you want to know more, or like, hey, you hate Scrum, and that's why you watch this. But I have a whole series on how you can make Scrum better at your workplace. If you want to go watch that over on my other YouTube channel. That's kind of some of the things that I was thinking with this. I'm not going to fully go down that road with everything. Sometimes we'll have humorous content, just be humorous, and I won't have any educational stuff. But sometimes maybe I have educational stuff. I do some humorous videos on AI, and then I'm like, hey, if you're struggling with adopting AI at your workplace, I have a whole series on adopting AI at your workplace. Because I just poked fun out of all of the things that go wrong with adopting AI at your workplace. So this is kind of what I'm thinking. And this is going to stay Null Labs. This right here is going to be the Null Labs. This is what the current YouTube channel is. And then this is going to be under a new name. I am not going to change the content. So all the old content is going to stay in this channel. So all the historical content is going to be there. I'm not going to re-upload it here, with some caveats. The Null DB will probably get re-uploaded here. So any series that I'm going to continue will probably get re-uploaded here. The other things, like if I make a new Rust series, I'm not going to take the old Rust series and upload it here. I'm just going to put the new Rust series here. And I'm going to move forward that way. I'm not telling you the name yet. I have almost identified the 3 names, and then I'm going to open it up for my long-term supporters in Discord to pick the name for. Yeah. So, that's what the YouTube content is going to look like. This is going to be faster. This will be like once every month, maybe 2 months. I'm not going to commit to once every month. I'm kind of going to try to shoot with that starting in March. And then this is going to be shorter, faster stuff. There's going to be series, and those are going to be long time in making. Like if I do a Rust series, it will be a very long time in the making. But there's also going to be shorter content involved in there. Yeah, and then this is I drew a lot of arrows. I hope those arrows clear everything up. One question I haven't answered for this over here is, do I wear shorts or not? I generally detain? I don't detain them. Disdain. Disdain is the word I was looking for. I disdain shorts in general. But I have some ideas for some funny ones, and I might do those. I figure if somebody's watching shorts anyways, my few shorts that I do as more of an advertisement for the other content isn't going to rot their brain any worse. I kind of have stayed out of it altogether. Is one of the names George Washington's text block? You're making fun of me. I see this. It's not really a tech blog. Although I have thought that maybe I could actually publish a lot of this like supporting content on a website or in blog format. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. But what if you touch a topic on your humor video where you want to point people to your educational content, but that specific playlist has ended and only is on your old channel? Wouldn't this ruin an opportunity to leverage to conversation? That's an interesting idea. I'm not sure. I'm not sure. So one thing I didn't want to do, and I talked to a couple people about this, and they were all pretty in. So for the most part, everybody I've talked to is in agreement this is probably the best way to go. Just knowing how YouTube handles stuff, if I want to do both, I probably need to break it out. And most people also agreed that Null Labs is mostly known for its funny content at this moment. Like the majority of people that joined that are there because of the humorous stuff. And so it made sense to actually bring out the, move the old educational content. Now, originally I had thought about moving that old content out of this over to here. And pretty unanimously, anybody I asked said no, not to do that, because it causes confusion. And like, there's this like, I had this video, but it doesn't exist anymore, and that type of stuff. And a lot of people are like, just having the history of how the channel grew makes it very, very organic. And, you know, that's kind of me. So I like that feedback. I'm definitely going with that feedback. What am I trying to say? To your question of like, hey, your old channel content, but I did a funny thing on it. Maybe I copy it over here. That's a pain. I actually have every edited video on a NAS here. So every video that I've edited and upload here, I actually have in a NAS. So I could re-upload it here. This actually causes slight problems in when I do this, even though it's my own channel under my own account. It's going to get flagged as under their copyright system, which is kind of cool. It's pretty good. It's going to say these two videos, this looks like a re-upload of your video. I can deal with that. It is going to cause a few problems, but possibly that's something I need to deal with. But yeah, so like some of the things that I want to do in here are like Mighty Mini Mondays. I want to have a Mighty Mini Monday. Maybe not every Monday. I would love to do this every single Monday, but like a 5-minute video that, or less, of like, yo people, Steam Pipe or OS Query or whatnot exists. Go use it. Here's a simple, let me show you some of the things you can do, and it's great. I used to do some of those. I want to do them. They're not high quality content. Like they, like, you know, it's what I can record in my terminal. But it's something that also the community could give tips for, like, you know, OS Query and whatnot. So I think it would be really cool for the community to be like, hey, these are some tools that are really cool. And we can go as far back as any tool in history. So like if there's things or tips or tricks or things like that, it's really cool. So I want to do the Mighty Mini Mondays again. Really small content, but yeah, anyways, and then I want to do the bigger content like the Null DB. You know, some of that more longer term, takes a long time to make an episode. You know, whether that's some Kubernetes stuff or a Rust class, those would all go there. Yeah. And this by far would have more content added to it. You're about to hear a lot of dogs bark. I'm okay. Do you hear that? You think they were being killed. You you'd think that they were being... They're at the far end of the house. So, I have a camera that watches down my driveway. And that camera, when it detects a car, we can't see down the turn in our car driveway. When it detects a car, it plays a chime. The kids call it the doorbell, but like it's not actually a doorbell. It's just that somebody's coming up our driveway. That went off, and mom and the kids are gone, and so they're very excited about them coming back, and so that's what happened. My chicken sound sick. Yeah. Anyways, it's a cacophony over there. So anyways, be on the lookout. I have a video explaining all of this that's going to release on the Null Labs with the new name. It will be the last not funny video on the Null Labs. Everything else will be coming out at the new name, and we'll be building that channel up from ground zero. Hopefully it's really good content, and hopefully I really get back into the swings of making these things and releasing content that helps make all of our lives better. That's the idea here. So yeah. That's the future plan. Thank you so much for the 2 follows that we got today. Or we got 3 follows. Thank you so much. Near 5, Phil, and Loot Ticker. Loot Ickler? Anyways, it was great hanging out with you all. Since the wife and family are back, I probably should get going and go hang out with them. I will be releasing more information, but next Saturday, we'll do the news as normal. And then after the news, I have a little thing that we're all going to do together. We're going to train. We're going to do a little bit of a retraining. It's going to be short. It's going to be about an hour, but I have a little AI thing to do. Yeah, I hope that it's good. I've been planning for it. So anyways, thanks everyone, and see you 9 a.m. Eastern time next Saturday. Yeah, let's find somebody to raid. Who should we raid? Let's see, who do we have here? Christoph. He does a lot of Zig stuff. Eastern time, that's where New York is. Just a little city that I don't live anywhere close to. Let's do Christoph. So Christoph, if you don't know who Christoph is, does a ton of work on Zig. Probably, apparently. Super awesome. Way better programmer than I am. go say hi to Christoph, learn Zig, just absorb it from him, learn how to program from him because he's better than I am. Then come back here and learn how bad I am at Rust compared to his ability at Zig. Thanks everybody for joining. I super appreciate you coming out and hanging out. Thanks for welcoming me back. It was really great to see you all. And hopefully we can make a great community together. Anyways, thanks everybody. And have a fantastic rest of your weekend.